And we are back live with a new webinar after our amazing, I say to myself, amazing conference 2 weeks ago in Lugano. We had more than 200 people. It was a very good conference. I think again I said it to myself, but we are here again with new webinars. We're gonna have different ones before the end of the year. And we hope to see you next year in the conference of Lugano to join more than 200 people. It was a really, really good conference. Today, we have Nina from the BI Samurai team. Maybe you have already seen BI Samurai because our previous guest was also from BI Samurai, Pascal. He presented Power BI Embedded. Today, we are going to see something different. Free custom visual. I love custom visuals,
Especially if they're free,
of,
right?
especially if they are free and if they are certified, right? So
Yeah.
they have the stamp. It is safe to use. But this one is a little bit different compared to other custom visuals because this one doesn't actually show data. It helps you with design. But I gotta leave later Nina to talk about her own custom visual from BI Samurai. So about us, we are the Italian community of Power BI, but I think we are gonna have to switch name sooner than later because we also share webinars, conferences, content about other technologies, not only Power BI. So now Power BI is inside Fabric, so we share a lot of Fabric stuff, Azure, but also other technologies. We have had some webinars with Tableau. Good evening with Snowflake, dbt, and so on and so forth. At the moment, we are the Power BI user group Italian community, but we do more than that. You can join us in our socials that we are going to show later on. Here it is. Here they are. So maybe you are watching us from YouTube or from LinkedIn, but we have many other social channels. The most used is the one of Telegram, which is entirely free. You can join the community, and this one is really useful because you can ask questions. Usually in Italian, because we are in an Italian community, but English is also welcome. So you can ask anything related with books, conferences, or even technical questions. This is not working. How can I do this or whatever DAX, visual, etc. We are also on Meetup. All our webinars are recorded and are available on YouTube. So this session is going to be recorded automatically and it's going to be available on YouTube. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. And Alessandro is going to share the link tree where you can join our different channels in the chat, whether in YouTube or LinkedIn. We have a GoFundMe. I think that I should have waited a little bit longer for people to join and talk about the GoFundMe. So we are a free community and we are volunteers, me, Alessandro, and many other people. We just like to spend our time helping people with the Power BI Fabric community. Uh, but we have some costs, like this one, like we are using this StreamYard software and many other tools that require some money. So we ask you just if you want to, of course, it is entirely up to you, to donate through GoFundMe. It is also on the link tree that Alessandro is sharing on all our channels. Next, finally, we are going to the south of Italy. We have had many BI meetups, conferences, whatever and whatnot, even in Switzerland, not even Italian, like 2 weeks ago. Finally, we are going to Bari next 27th of November. So this time we are gonna be sharing the floor with the DBT community and Snowflake. Location is in the University of Bari, but tomorrow we'll share more information on all our channels. So please follow us on LinkedIn, Telegram, Meetup, whatever. Of course, it is a free event. All of our events are free. You don't need to pay anything. You can just, if you want, donate through GoFundMe. So this is a very, very special moment because it is the first time that we're going to the South. We have a lot of members in our community from for the South, and they asked actually this week, when are you going to do an event here in the south of Italy, in Bari, precisely? And so, well, now you have this event in your own city. So we're gonna wait for you. We know who you are. We're gonna look for you. We're going to find you. Kidding. But if you are from the south nearby, please come. It is entirely free as all our events. This community is open to everyone, not only if you want to participate to the Telegram and conferences, live events, but also if you want to help us with organizations like myself right now, Alessandro, with anything. I mean, you can be a designer, you can be a social media manager, which is right now Alessandro. You can be, we don't require a technical expertise for you to join. Just the willingness to spend some time with us, helping the Italian community with Power BI, Fabria, etc. So it is a open community. We welcome everyone. Now we're speaking English because our guest today, she's international, but you don't have to speak English at all to join the community. So feel free to join if you want to give us a hand. So thank you so much for joining this webinar. Now I'm gonna leave the floor to Nina. She's going to talk about a really, really, at least for me, interesting custom visual, which is free. So the floor is all yours, Nina.
Thank you, Victor. Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining. A bit of heads up, I'm a little bit sick, so if I need to take some pauses to drink or to just catch my breath, I already apologize for that in advance, but I really didn't want to miss this. Um, my name is Nina. I'm a data analyst and product innovation lead at BI Samurai, like Victor already said before. And today we will look a little bit into why design in Power BI matters, what sometimes goes wrong, and how hopefully our visual can fix that. I'll keep the things more practical and visual. I won't do too much of the theory, but we'll touch on that a little bit as well. So just a little bit about me. I finished my master's in data science and advanced analytics in Nova IMS in Lisbon, Portugal. So I'm originally from Slovenia, so we're neighbors. But I've been living in Lisbon or in Portugal for the last, I think, 4 years now. Much better weather, good food, all around good things. I'm also Microsoft certified, and I'm a big dog person. So you can see. I hope the pictures are big enough. But here is me with our little dog. Because I studied in another country. I'm not from Portugal. I studied in an international course. I've met a lot of people from all around. Most of them, unfortunately, already left Lisbon. So we really try to, or Portugal. So we really try to meet as much as we can in other parts of the world. So this is me with some of our friends in Amsterdam, me with my boyfriend. One of recent trips that I took to Uganda, which is another thing that I think describes me well, or is something that I love to do, which is traveling. Here you also have the QR code for my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect, I'm happy to. And I'll also drop a link at the end of the session, so you'll be able to find me. But I don't think it should be difficult. I don't think there's that many of us. Okay, enough about me. If we just go really quickly through the agenda that I have kind of prepared for today. So a little bit of introduction. We'll talk a bit, like I said, about the importance of design and some design principles and practices. It's a bit of theory, but I really won't spend too much time here. It's not the purpose of this session, but it's just also maybe to understand where the idea of Nebula came from and why we think it's important. Then I'll talk a bit about Nebula, and then we'll do a live demo, which is what most of the session will be about. And at the end, we have some time reserved for a Q&A as well. Okay, so there's a sentence that I've read not long ago, probably not word to word, but it's that, design in Power BI is not just about making things pretty, it's about communication. And it's one of the things that I feel when I talked to some other developers or when I see reports that people don't really believe in that much. And I feel that design for a lot of report developers, or maybe even the end users, is more nice to have, not a need to have, which I would disagree with. And I'm not talking about like making really fancy reports with these like, for example, there's a lot of people online that create these amazing personal projects that have all of the icons and animations, and it's really thematic, and you can see that they spent days and days on that report, and it looks amazing. And I wish I had that skill. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm really talking about day-to-day reports, about just some structure and some design, some thought going into it to be able to convey the story better. And I think, that's a little bit missing in at least a lot of reports that I see. And we want to close that gap a little bit, because we do believe that good design makes reports easier to read, quicker to navigate, and kind of builds trust or makes them more trustworthy. It also reduces cognitive load, so users spend less time guessing and more time understanding the data. And truthfully, I think that, of course, it's very important to have properly modeled data, good DAX measures, and so on. But I feel like design is what actually turns data into a usable product, so something that you can actually get your insights out of. And there are some common mistakes in design that we see a lot. So one is too many visuals fighting for attention on a page. There's easily reports with, 15 visuals on one page, 10 different filters, slicers, and it just makes it really hard to read. Then we also have this random spacing and misalignment. So maybe not as much random spacing as no spacing, so no room to breathe between visuals. We have a rainbow of colors, so not really a kind of a consistent color palette or understanding colors, because I don't know, for example, red and green, right? They shouldn't be used if it's not showing positive or negative variance. They shouldn't really be in bar charts as like bar colors or line charts and so on. I won't touch too much today on just kind of design regarding the visuals itself, because it's not, or the data inside the visuals, because it's not what we're here for, but more on the design of the whole thing, like a background and a structure of the report. And that brings me to the last point, which is that a lot of times there's no real structure to the reports. And when these things pile up, users can get confused, they can get overwhelmed, and I think a lot of important insights can get lost. And what we all want is actionable insights and being able to understand and take action out of that. But if your main insights or main data is kind of buried in a big pile of visuals, then it's hard to make those decisions. And this is where Nebula comes in. So I'll show you all about it, but with the ability to change your background and to structure your reports a bit better, it can help fix these issues. So here are some of the core principles that I usually follow when designing a Power BI report. So I try to keep things simple. So just keep the things that really matter. Kind of make sure that it's not overloaded the page with, for example, visuals or different elements. If you need 2 pages for the same, let's say you want to display, I don't know, your client related data. If you need 2 pages, that's fine. Just don't put 15 visuals on the same page, right? So yeah, keep it simple. Then I would say consistency, same styling, same colors, same spacing, same position of filters, and so on. It builds the trust from the users, so they always know that, I don't know, blue means this, or that slicers can be found in the header, or that my KPIs are going to be on the left, and so on. So they can rely that reports throughout the business, so not just one report, but maybe even more reports are going to be built in the same way. Then, yeah, elements that belong together should sit together, right? So we should visually kind of group the elements, the visuals that are kind of about the same thing, so they can be read together. Then alignment. So yeah, it just makes things look more professional, to just have some nice lines and, yeah, just nicely aligned. Then spacing. This is something that I really really focus on, or really think it is absolutely needed. So it just gives your elements or your visuals on the page room to breathe, and it's so much easier to read a report that has some white space, some breathing space, than if everything is cluttered together. And yeah, for the end, I would say contrast and balance. So kind of highlighting what matters, keeping the rest of the things more calm, more how do you say it, more simple. And yeah, hopefully Nebula can help you make these principles, or apply these principles in a bit better or easier way. So a little bit about Nebula. What is Nebula? Nebula is a certified Power BI custom visual. So we actually just got the certification recently. It is already available on the app stores, and it is certified, but the badge is not shown yet. So actually, we got a confirmation from Microsoft that the badge should appear in the next few days. I was really hoping for it to be before this session, so we could also already show that. But yeah, in any case, it is now fully certified. It yeah, means that it went through all of the rigorous testing on the code that Microsoft does. It aligns with all of the security requirements. It was quite a long process. We had to change some things. We got yeah, some answers that things are not completely aligned with what they require, and so on. So they really take a lot of time, and they put a lot of effort into verifying that everything is the way that it should be. So Nebula officially does meet all of those standards. And the visual, it's a it was first named background visual, so it's still in my mind, but it is what like background visual is really a good way to describe it, because it goes behind all of your visuals, and it's going to help you structure the report, and it doesn't interfere with your visual, and it kind of gives you control over, yeah, like I said, structure and maybe spacing, visual sections, and it does all of that without leaving Power BI. So the way I did designs before, I used a lot Figma. I love Figma as a design tool. And just to note here, I'm a very amateur designer, so this is not some professional opinion or the designs that I've created, but it was really just basics, which is also what Nebula really is strong at. And with everyday reports, it shouldn't be about too much. It should really be about basics. But yeah, anyways, I used to do this in Figma. The designs, I generally love the tool, but it was so much of exporting and importing into the background of the Power BI file, and then having to realign. And one of the things that is for me a downside to using tools like Figma, or a lot of people use PowerPoint or any other design tool, is that you're kind of forced to either go back and forth a lot between the apps, between the tools, or you just need to fit your data into the pre-designed template. So your background doesn't align with the way you want your data to be, but it has to be the other way around, which can sometimes mess a little bit with the flow of the report, or some visuals can become not so easily readable and so on. And that's something that Nebula kind of eliminates. We'll look into that as well. And it reduces clutter in Power BI. So because you can also use, of course, the Power BI native shapes to build your backgrounds, but then you're just going to have a lot of shapes on your page. Nebula reduces that clutter because it's all inside one visual. Yeah, and it's also a bit easier to keep the layouts consistent, build them clean, and provide with a kind of intentional design.
Yeah, and having a lot of visual elements, even if they are shapes, rectangles, circles, whatever, they also hit performance because for
Exactly.
rendering,
Yeah.
it takes time.
Yes, and they, if I'm not wrong, I know that it used to be that way, but they render first. So because all of, for example, if you have maybe other custom visuals, but native Power BI visuals, they always render first. Meaning if you have a lot of elements or a bit of a slower performance, you might first see your shape and then have to wait a few seconds to actually see the data, right? This is something that Nebula, yeah, it does not happen with Nebula.
And another thing that I hate about using shapes behind just for the header, etc., is that if you click by any chance the shape, it goes
Yeah,
above everything, right?
yeah.
There is an option which is maintain order
Mm-hmm.
layer for that,
Yes, yes.
but I don't know why it is not by default. So if you
Mm-hmm.
forget to do it, then the user, every time they click on the object, it will appear in front of everything.
Yeah. So actually, you
That's
do
pain.
have to do that with Nebula as well.
I got
I'll
it, but
show
just
it. Yeah,
one, and
I'll
not
show.
for
Yes,
every
true,
object,
true,
right?
true, true. Yes, yes. But that's true. By default, that maintain layer order is turned off. So if you're in read view and you would click on whatever the element is, it would just bring it to the front. So by enabling that option, I'll show it in a little bit. It actually allows for the Nebula, for example, in this case, to really stay in the background. All right, let me then just change from this. You can see my screen. Yes, perfect. Okay, so this is now a Power BI report, and this is a design made with Nebula, super basic. Not a lot of, yeah, it's not I don't know how to say glamorous. It doesn't have a lot of things, but it, I think, guides the. It makes the design nice. It tells you it's easier to read than if I just remove that. And I can actually just really quickly show the difference. For example, this for me, because I don't have a background, because I don't have boxes, because I don't have kind of even things grouped together as, for example, KPIs and so on, I still find this a little bit harder to read. But we'll come back to that later. I did want to just show really quickly. So I said that the Nebula is certified and it's on the App Stores. So you can get it if you just navigate to your visualization pane. You go on three dots. I'm sure you know how to do this. Get more visuals, and it opens the App Stores. Should open the App Stores.
The beauty of life.
Yes, exactly.
Everything is slower, everything doesn't work.
So if I write Nebula here, you can find our visual. Like I said, at this moment it doesn't have the certification badge yet, but it will get it in a few days. But it's still already certified, and you can just add it to your reports. I already have it, so it's just going to update it if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, now you can find Nebula here. It's kind of the logo of Nebula, just without the some element, something simple. Yeah, so this is how to add Nebula to your report. So what I already mentioned a little bit before, because Victor mentioned that there's settings like maintain layer order and so on. There are a few things that you need to set up with Nebula before using it. We were in contact with Microsoft to have this set by default. We're still trying to get to have that done, but it's a little bit more complicated. So for now, you just need to set a few settings. So I'll create a new page and I'll add Nebula to the page. So right now, when you open Nebula, it just gives you simple text. It also guides you to a quick start guide on our website, which will explain everything that I'm going to show now. We are currently in development of creating or replacing this, let's say, landing page inside of the visual with another one. We're also updating our website. Should be hopefully maybe next week live. So we're just updating things now a little bit. But yeah, when you add the visual, it looks like this. And the first thing that you need to do is to add whatever field. So it can be a measure or it can be just, like a column or something. You just need to add it to this launch Nebula field here. And I'll put less refresh, let's say, but it really can be everything. So now the landing page disappeared and you could start with your designs in Nebula. But like I said, there's a few settings we need to set up. So if we go to format your visual and we go to the general settings, what we need to do is change the padding, so all of the padding to 0. And if I just show why, so for example, now if I add an element, right, I cannot put it more to the left, so to really touch the border, unless I set the padding to 0. Now there's no white space there anymore. Maybe I can just show this a bit better. I'm not sure how well my screen is shown, but here, right? Oh, no, not here. Here we have, no, of course, live.
What is it? Zoom it?
Yeah, it's zoom it. It's a little bit, but yeah, we can see that we have a line here. I don't know, okay, what's happening, but we see that it's not touching the border. Meanwhile, when I put the padding to 0, now it perfectly touches the border and there's no space anymore. So that's one of the settings. Then we go to what Victor mentioned, and it's maintain layer order. We're gonna turn that on. We go into effects and we remove the background, and we just turn off header icons because they're really not needed for this visual. And now you can start creating. So yeah, we're updating also the landing page to give a bit more instructions on this, because not a lot of people really go to the website to read the instructions, right? Who still does that? So we want to give users a little bit of a heads up already as soon as they add Nebula to their page. But yeah, from here on, designing your backgrounds, your designs is really easy. So as I showed before, here we have this plus button, and it's going to give me an option to add a rectangle or a circle to the page. Those are the two options that we have right now. I would point out that you can create very nice, simple designs, but it is still a little bit simple. We have a big backlog of things that we want to do that we think would be very useful, but we had to just get started somewhere. So at the end, after the Q&A or in the Q&A, I would actually really love to hear also not only your feedback, but also ideas of what you see would be useful to add. We don't want to implement something that we think it's useful, but nobody else will think it's useful. So yeah, please do share any thoughts that you'll have at the end. But yeah, so for example, I added now a square. I can resize it. I can resize it keeping the aspect ratio by holding the shift key. And then if I right click on it, I have some settings, some formatting settings. So I can set the border settings. So I can say, I don't know, I want rounded corners. Now my corners got rounded. I can change the thickness of the border or have no border at all. I can also change the border color. Something more visible. Let's do a red. I can also add a shadow. So in the shadow selection, you can set all of the things, or not all of the things, but a lot of things that you're maybe also familiar with from other tools. So where it appears on the x-axis, where it appears on the y-axis. Sorry, what kind of a blur it has, spread, and then you can also choose the color for it. And in all of the coloring, choosing colors of anything in Nebula, you have the option to either add your RGBA code or just paste the hex code that you want to use. And you also have an option of making it transparent. Then, of course, you can edit the color of the element itself. So if I go here, I'll make this really ugly, but just to really make a point. So for example, yeah, it's kind of a blue. So it got filled with blue, and you can, yeah, like I said, change the transparency here, or just enter your own hex or RGB code. Then we have some key, so buttons on the keyboard that you can use. So you can either duplicate whatever you created by just pressing duplicate, or you can normally just Control-C, Control-V. You can also move the elements with the arrow keys. So now I'm not doing anything with my mouse, I'm just on my keyboard. And you can also delete. And what I mentioned before, if you hold the shift, it's going to resize, but keeping the aspect ratio. Then we have the setting of layer ordering. So for example, if I add 2 more, or maybe transparent wasn't the best idea here. Let me just, okay, perfect. So if I add 2 more of these ugly rectangles, now you can see that this one is at the top, the one that is now selected, and you can tell that it's selected because it has this I don't know how they're called, but these circles in each of the corner and on the borders. So now I can say layer order, and I can either send it back because it's already in the front, or I can send it backwards. So send it backwards goes one layer back, so it's now in between of the two. Or if I say send to back, it's now really the last one, or on the lowest level. And you can do the same with bring to front or bring forward. And then you can also remove it. Then we also have the default settings. So we have them in the visualization pane on the format, the visual option. And you can, for example, define, it's not everything yet, but most of the things in advance. So for example, I can say, I want this to be 300 pixels wide, 200 pixels tall. Let's have a 10 border radius. I don't want a border, and I want it to be pink. And it's going to have 30 transparency. So now if I add a rectangle, it's going to keep the default settings that you've added. So any new rectangle, because if we only change the default settings for rectangle, it's going to appear like this until you change the default settings. And of course, as always, if you just want to go back to what is default in Nebula, you just go reset to default. And when you press rectangle, you're going to get the default one. So we have the same thing for circles. And then we also have Nebula's code. So this is, so the visual, you can copy it from one page to the other. So I can go copy visual, and if I add it here, it keeps the whole design that you've created before. But you could also copy between reports, for example, right? So if I now, let me just actually delete all of this, and I want to take the design that I showed earlier, I go to Nebula's code, and I get this long code here that I can just fully copy. And now if I go to this page, select Nebula again, Nebula's code, and paste, I get the design. So right now my page is actually, it's not the right, the previous page was different size, but yeah, now I got my design that I used before. So you can, you reuse the same design across multiple reports. Of course, you'll have to tweak a little bit because you won't always have exactly this layout, but at least you can bring out in colors and any setting that you've already set, and just basically resize your elements or rearrange them or add new ones if they're needed. I can show you a little bit of the designs that we have created for just kind of showcase with Nebula. So we looked at this before, and this is really just some, if I bring it to the top, this is really just, I think, 10 rectangles. That's it. But it already gives so much to the report, and it makes it it follows the spacing, it gives it room to breathe, it's simple, it's not cluttered, it has some kind of a color contrast, but it's not overwhelmed with colors, and it follows the principles that I was talking about before. Then, for example, okay, this one is a bit flashy, but for example, in the colors, I mean, here also, this is now even less rectangles, right? So this is all kind of on the background. There's no boxes in behind. We just have this header, and we have these boxes or containers for the KPI, for the cards. Another one where you're kind of grouping the KPIs even more together, and also emphasizing or highlighting the one that is, the most important, let's say. We have some dark theme ones as well. Oh, I see that we need to fix this up here, but it's not a design I usually go for. I think there can be a lot of tricks and with the dark mode, but yeah, you do have an option, of course, to create that as well. So this would be, for example, one design. This is made entirely with rectangles. What we have in the back here is basically just a rectangle with very curved edges, and then just placed behind our main box. I think we have another kind of dark theme as well here. Again, only rectangles that are a bit formatted. Actually, now I see a pattern. We use a lot of rectangles. This one was a bit, I'll say, a little bit harder to create, just because so far we don't really allow. So if you want to curve the edges, all of them need to be curved. So this design was a little bit more stacking up together some parts, but still doable. Just a different way of grouping together KPIs, for example. So those are just a few ideas. We're actually really excited to see people working with this and see what people that are maybe a bit more skilled in design or do this more often or have better ideas and more creative, what you can create. So if you do play around with Nebula, let us know. Even if you just send an email with some screenshots or something like that, it would be really interesting to see what you can come up with. And now I would just show. So I said before that I used to work and create designs in Figma. I would just quickly show the benefit or why Nebula how it can be much faster with Nebula, and what is, I would say, the biggest advantage against using external tools. So for the purpose of not having this rehearsed, I didn't want to create anything in Nebula before, in Figma beforehand, because I really wanted, actually I'll also delete this, that I want to really show or time how long it takes. We don't have super a lot of time, so I won't go too much into details. I'll really create something very fast. But the idea is to just create a background there, bring it into the visuals that we have, so the data that we have in the file that we were just looking into, and then see how I can create a design with that, and then do the same with Nebula. So I'm now in Figma, and I will just press play on my stopwatch so we see approximately how long it takes. But I'll just hide this because it's way too big and it doesn't get smaller. But if we, okay, the way I would approach design here, I would add a frame. So again, I like Figma, but I'm not a designer. I use it mostly for Power BI, or did use it mostly for Power BI report designs backgrounds. So I probably don't know all of the, buttons to click, and yeah, don't judge me on that. But okay, my page is 1600 pixels wide and 900 pixels tall, like we saw before. That's what we use. Okay, let me start. I'll say let's go with pink today. I'm going to create a very light background, just so it's still noticeable from the Figma background. And we'll basically recreate what we have here. Let's just do that, but with different colors. So something really simple. So I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So I'll add what's kind of my header banner, header rectangle. Let's make it 80 pixels tall, and I'll change the color to something. Oh, that's gonna be bright. Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, so that's my header. And now, okay, I have 4 KPIs, and then below I have kind of my less refresh information, and then I have four graphs or tables on my page for visuals. If I go back to Figma, I'm going to use white for this. So they're going to be fully white. I'll make the borders 15, let's say, and I'll edit a little bit of effect, a bit of shadow. I'll go with what has really lately been my go-to, which is just all fours. Let's change the color a little bit. And if I've learned anything, it needs to be somehow in the color. Okay, let's just say it like this. I'm not going to be focusing too much on this, because otherwise we're going to be here a long time. But let me just add, okay, I need 4. Well, now my last refresh is not going to fit, so no. Let's do it again. Maybe this is better. So one thing, for example, that Figma has that I would really like to bring to Nebula is that I can, if I make this one my last refresh, that I can really select my elements, and I can distribute the vertical or horizontal spacing, so they're all spaced the same apart from each other, which I think is really useful. But yeah, okay, we have our KPIs, our cards. Then we're gonna do. So I kind of had the timeline here. So this and 2 should be a bit bigger. Okay. So I'll maybe do something like this. And this one smaller. Yeah. And here I'll do. Okay. And let's bring this down here. And let's say that we're happy with the colors and everything, just from the, yeah, to not spend too much time. Could definitely look better. So now I'm going to go to export as PNG. I'm going to put it in this file. I'm going to say background Figma. And I'm going to go to Power BI. I'm just going to duplicate this page, so we have the visuals where we want them. I'm going to go to Canvas background. I'll find my design here. Now I need to set the transparency off.
I don't know why that transparency is 100% by default. It doesn't make any sense. It should be
Yes.
0% by default.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And it's something that when I was adding the Figma designs before, I was always like, why is it not showing? Like the picture is in there. Why can I not see it? And then I remember that it's the transparency issue. So I agree. It should be to 0. But here I'll also just say to fill. And now, as you can see, so I either need to rearrange and resize all of my visuals now to fit into my boxes, for example, like this, and then do that for all of them. And here I can see, I also have some issues with the backgrounds and so on. So I either have to do that, or I have to go back to Figma and I say, okay, This one should be a bit more to the left. This one maybe too. So everything, yeah, a bit to the left. This one is a bit too big. So then I would have to do, just kind of move all of my more to the left. Then this one like this.
Or you can take a screenshot of a Power BI report.
Or yes, you could also absolutely do that. So see, like I said, I'm not a pro in this. My way of doing it was usually just trying to align or then just fitting the data into the third design that I created because I didn't want to keep going back and forth. But let's say I move now a little bit to the left, everything to the left, resize a little bit. If I go back to my my Power BI and I now remove this image and I edit again. Okay, it's better, but it's still not nicely aligned. So yeah, I either need to do a screenshot or I need to go back and redo this again, or I need to bring my visuals, to align. Well, actually here I can just remove background because we don't need it. But yeah, I need to align the data, meaning that this, for example, needs to be more narrow, meaning I might be losing some data, or it might not be, maybe not in this case, but in a lot of cases it can make it less, it's harder to read and so on. So yeah, I need to what I said earlier. Here I need to fit my data into the design that I've created. So now if I try to do the same thing with Nebula, I'll copy this page again and I'll just nope, remove the background. So just for the record, this took us, let's say, 7 minutes. So now if I start this again, so I have my page. Okay, I don't have anything in the background. I'll just put the background to white. So I'll do with everything. I'll put Nebula to the page. I'll go through all of the settings that I showed you before that I have to do. So I'll add a measure. I'll go to properties. I'll set all padding to 0. Advanced options, maintain layer order, turn off the background, turn off the header icons. Okay, so now Nebula is kind of prepared to work with it. So now I'll start designing, and I will add first a big rectangle, which is going to be kind of like our background. And I'm going to go with a different color. I'll go with blue, and I'll make it very light blue. Okay, and a really cool thing about Nebula is that, so right now I cannot see anything that is behind this background, this big rectangle that I just added. But if you click in this eye icon here, you make Nebula a little bit transparent, which really helps when you're creating designs. So now I'm going to add a rectangle. Okay, it should be kind of this size because of my filter in the background. And with the design that I'll create now, you don't have to move your visuals at all. So I'll say I'll put the color to be this, because it's transparent, looks much lighter than it is in the end. Just a warning, because I'm always creating designs based on this, and then when I disable this transparency, I just see that the colors are way too dark, much darker than I was expecting. So I'll say apply to this. I'll just remove the border. Then I'll bring in my kind of backgrounds, my boxes for the KPI cards. So, okay, no, I want them white. I will remove the border. I will have, I think we had 15 before. Let's make it the same, the border radius. And now, where are you? Oh, here. I'll just align this background, hopefully nicely, with my KPIs. And now I can just copy and paste. I'm also going to get the kind of alignment lines, so I can make sure that I'm, more or less aligning them, one right under the other. And I'll just add this one, make it a bit smaller. Okay, perfect. And now I can reuse this, right? Because we used the same and I already see that I'll have an issue here, but let's just create it first. So this is aligned like this. I'll make this smaller. This here, and the last one is going to be okay here. And I just remembered I didn't add the shadows, so I'll just quickly do that. So I have to do all of this now, basically kind of from the start, right? So it's going to cost me some time, unfortunately, but let's hope not too much. So I'll just do
a format painter, I think, will be good here. Just
yeah,
copy the format.
that is true. But I'll see if I can do this really fast. This
Or being able to select all of the shapes at the same time and
and
just
it, yes,
change. Mhm.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That's or even not all of them, but just some. If they're the same type, for example, they're all rectangle, and I can just quickly edit all of the, like you can also do in Power BI with native visuals. That's absolutely a useful and nice thing. And like I said before, to be able to align them, that would be not align, but distribute them like horizontally, so they have the same spacing without really having to try hard to do that. So that would be nice.
One thing that I like is that you can paste the hex code of the colors, because there are many custom visuals where this is not possible to paste the
Yeah.
hex color.
Yeah, I mean the idea, the best would be if you could also import, for example, your company colors, and then just apply that to your not -4 apply that to your elements. But like I said, a big backlog. Okay, perfect. So we are now, if I remove this and go to the back, okay, it's kind of okay. I also kind of tricked myself before because I rearranged the visuals to fit with the previous, so they're not really nicely aligned anymore. But still, we can fix this a little bit, and we're just going to move. Okay, this one should go. Come on, a bit more up, and let me just. It's much easier. Okay. And then I can move this one up. I can move this one up. It's a bit, of course, it's live, so it's messing with me a little bit. And here I didn't leave enough space. So actually for this purpose, but just because of what I was doing before and not going with a properly set up visuals, I'll just cheat a little bit. And here I will actually have to move the visuals that I have below, but it's just because they don't really fit. They don't have a good enough spacing. But yeah, so now we're 7 minutes in. I had to go and literally apply the shadow to every single element because I forgot to do that before. I was able to. I didn't have to leave Power BI once. I, except my cheating, didn't really have to, move or resize my visuals in the background, and I could adapt any design that I'm creating with this really nice feature of making Nebula transparent to whatever is in the background. So just for the record, yeah, it was like 6 minutes something. So you can trust my word here. But now, for example, yeah, if I say, okay, this is nice, but actually I want this to be smaller and I want this to be bigger. now this would kind of completely mess me up if I wanted to go back to Figma and change this again. Meanwhile, here it's so simple to do. Okay, this is already, I still have it on the transparent mode. I just resize these, bring it back, disable. Yeah, and that's it. And it whatever I changed into my visuals, whatever, resizing I did, I was able to adjust my background to it in really seconds. As I said before, right, when we had this in transparent mode, these colors looked a little bit different. So when you're actually putting it to your proper non-transparent mode, now it doesn't look that nice. But yeah, it wasn't, the purpose was not to create beautiful design. It was just to show how you can do this quite fast, and more than you can do it fast, because it's not hard, or it doesn't take a long time to also do it in Figma. It's just that it's so much easier once you already have the report to then fit everything to whatever or wherever your visuals want to be. Because if I want to reuse this design, but now I have, I don't know, this visual is this size and this one is smaller and so on, then it takes me again going back and forth to Figma or PowerPoint or whatever you're using to just align everything nicely and have your backgrounds where they're supposed to, or boxes where they're supposed to be. In this case, you copy the code like I showed you, you paste it into another report, and then you just resize your boxes, and you have a design for a new report, follows the same colors, follows the same formatting as before, and it's really done in a minute, let's say. Sorry, I took more time than I wanted to. I apologize for that. This was it for what I wanted to show today. I'm open for the last 3 minutes, or I have more time for questions. But otherwise, or ideas or feedback really would be much appreciated. But if we don't have enough time, you can always send us an email, or we can have a call, show you more, discuss these things. So we're very open to feedback.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you. Yeah, we have several questions actually at the end of
Okay,
your
perfect.
presentation. We got a few. One of them is from Christina, and
Mhm.
she's asking, does it work with JSON themes palettes?
So it doesn't work with the palettes yet. So, and you cannot really define, except in the default settings, like I showed you before, you cannot really define any colors or any settings like that. But it is something that we would like to bring in. So we would really be able to align with the colors and the design that you're using for your visuals inside of Power BI reports, as well as using your company colors, branding, and so on. So you don't have to copy and paste the hex codes and try to get the design working that way.
Awesome. Yeah, we are getting more and more questions actually.
Perfect.
Actually, I think we answered this one. Is it possible to select multiple shapes and then shift them up all at once? We
Not
saw
at the
that
moment.
currently no,
Yeah,
not at the
not
moment.
at the
Yeah,
moment. It doesn't work. Like if I want to, I don't know, shift or control, it just selects whatever I click the last.
we have more questions. A lot of them. Quite smart. Actually, this is a comment, guide for the alignment, and very useful. But I think that the rulers and distribution of objects will be a killer feature along
Absolutely.
with sizing of each object. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I would also like to bring is, when you move things, elements in Figma, you get this, like here. Oh, yeah, of course. Well, you get these numbers, and you can see the exact spacing between them, and that
Mm.
it's the same. If we could bring this in, it would be super useful. Absolutely.
We're getting questions about custom visuals. Does it require any special permission or setting when sharing reports with clients?
Hmm.
Sometimes they work for me, but show errors on the client side.
Yeah.
So I think I gotta take this question, Nina,
Sure. Go
regarding
ahead.
custom. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it depends on the tenant settings of your client or yours. So there is an option in the admin portal on your tenant settings to allow or don't allow custom visuals. So maybe in your case, it is allowed for you, but not for your customer. So it is up to the admin of Power BI to enable that the option for custom visuals. But
Yeah, I agree. I would also just add one thing that a lot of times companies only allow certified visuals. So it might be that they are allowing custom visuals, but only certified. And if whatever you were using wasn't certified, that could also be the reason why they're not showing in the client reports.
yeah, another one from Joao. He's asking about performance. How
Mm-hmm.
is it compared with native visual? Well, there is not a native visual that does this, but
Yeah. So whatever from whatever we tested, it doesn't affect performance. It's because it's all inside of one visual. So actually, if we just see here in my selection pane, right, I have these 10 or however many elements, and they're all displayed inside of Nebula. So they are not displayed separately, meaning they will all render with Nebula at the same time. You're not going to have to wait for some boxes to render faster or slower than the others. And yes, it does not hinder performance as much as we have tested. So it's, but like Victor said, Microsoft always prioritizes native visuals, right? So even with the rendering, if you have really slow performance, your visuals, native visuals, might render faster than Nebula. Unfortunately, that's just the way that Microsoft. Yeah, not unfortunately, it makes sense, but for us, it can be unfortunate. But for whatever we've created, whatever clients used it, how much ever we tested and tried it out, it has never caused any issue in performance.
awesome. Also because it doesn't have to load any data, right? So I
Yes, of
think
course,
Dark
it
Studio
takes one
here,
measure. It takes one measure that can be
yeah,
anything. That can
that
be
can be anything,
number
a
one
dummy
or
measure.
something. Yeah. So that's all it takes.
We have a really good questions with a really interesting use case regarding
Hmm.
bookmarks.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, that you could absolutely do that. It's a visual that you can, if you select which visuals are displayed on your bookmark, you can just you have two nebulas and they're like
Exactly.
one displays in one bookmark and the other one displays in another bookmark. That's actually a very interesting use case. I have to
Yeah,
try that
yeah,
out.
really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a next level.
yeah, you can give it a try.
Yeah.
Next question from Joao again. Does it integrate well with Power BI service?
Yes, so I can show you. I think I actually have it open. Let me just yeah. So this is how this same report looks like in okay, I swear it usually doesn't everything loaded slow, not just Nebula right now. I don't know why, but this is the design that we were looking at before, or these are my other designs in now in Power BI service. So there's no issues. You can see the design as it is because we have disabled the enabled the maintain layer order. Even if I click somewhere on Nebula, it's not going to come to the front. So you still have the layer order that you have set up. So it's fully integrated with the service.
One more thing for Joao.
Mhm.
So since you're talking about Power BI service, if you want to export in PowerPoint or PDF, just certified custom
Mhm.
visuals can do that.
Yes, exactly. So now Nebula can. A week ago it didn't, but now it can. You can also export with Nebula. Yes.
Final questions.
Mhm.
So regarding performance, they are asking if you use performance analyzer.
So we did. I don't have the exact numbers for you right now because I think this was done like a year ago. When I was doing it, or when I was involved into that. But I'm happy to try it again and just send you the results. Or if you want to try it yourself, you know now how to get Nebula. Share with us your results. Hopefully they're as good as ours were. But yeah, we did use it when developing the visual. And I'm also saying a year ago or months ago because um, there has been a long process of getting this certified.
Mm.
So in that meantime, Nebula didn't really get a lot of updates or any updates because since this is now certified, it takes every time we want to push a new update, it's going to take about I think around 3 weeks for those to, because it has to go, every update has to go through the Microsoft certification process. So they have to review the code for every update that we're going to submit. So it takes some time, and because of that we didn't want to make changes that we would then have to submit again and just wait for a long time. We just wanted Nebula to go live. So yeah, we had some fixes, nothing major, but some small things that we had to do to align with their requests and so on. So it's been a few months to get these to app source and to have the certification. So yes, not much has been developed in that time.
And that was it.
Perfect.
That was the last question. Yeah.
Thank
Perfect.
you, everybody. Thank you, Victor, for having me, for inviting me. I'm always excited to talk about Nebula, to be honest. So it was a really good opportunity. And thanks, everybody, for joining and listening. As I said, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you have contacts on our website, or I don't know if the PowerPoint slides will be shared with everybody, but you have my LinkedIn QR code there. You have a bit more of our contact information. Actually, I'm the one showing this. I forgot. But yeah, you can email us at nebula@bisamurai.com, my LinkedIn, go to our website. So you have a few ways to reach us.
Thank you, everyone. See you in the
Thank you.
next one. Thank you so much for sending us. Thank you, Nina, for this
Of
amazing
course.
custom visual. And have a great evening then. Take
Yeah.
care.
Nice end of the week to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.